Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Thiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching us every day, Monday through Friday. From 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to watch you in the afternoon, and you get to watch us in the afternoon as well. You know, we're here at the Gadsden Mall, one of my favorite places to come to. You know, Randall, I'm not a shopper. And I'm not a shopper because I don't like going in one store and have to drive halfway around town and go to another. I like it here.
Yeah.
Because I just go get everything done, and they've got the grocery store now, which is right there, and so it's just handier, and I'm pretty sure you like it too. And I wanted to mention this about Kaylee, and Kaylee is the general manager here, and just got a job promotion, by the way.
Fantastic,
Yeah,
very deserving.
Yeah, very deserving. So Kaylee, her background is actually retail, which makes your life a lot easier if you're thinking about starting a business, and especially if you're going to a mall, because you can get some great advice from someone who is very successful in the retail world. So if you're interested in starting a business and you just want to expand your business and come to the mall, get in contact with Kaylee. And no, she didn't pay me to say that. But she's an awesome, awesome lady. You know, you can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundant Television, syndicated, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And you can also find us on the podcast, thenewscasters.com, and our radio station, icradio.media. So find us that way. We also have apps for every phone, so you'll be able to watch us and listen to us that way as well. Randall Ham is with me right now, good friend, been knowing him for a really, really long time, and when you were a politician.
I was never a politician.
It's a good way to get slapped.
I was a public servant. I was never a politician.
There you go. So, but
I think that's why I didn't put my career in
that's
that.
why it didn't last, because you're not a
Right,
politician.
right.
And so, but a lot of great things happened in Fort Payne when you were there.
They did. Yes. We were able to accomplish so many good things for our city and for our folks. And it was an honor and a pleasure to spend that 4 years doing that. Yeah.
And you also work for an awesome company.
I do. I work for a company called Artemis Shielding up in Fort Payne, Alabama. We're headquartered in Fort Payne, and we manufacture radiation shielding that removes lead. It has no lead in it, so we're trying to have an impact on the environment and on the safety of people. And
yeah, that's healthy for people as well.
Absolutely. But it's a young veteran-founded company, and we're really making some waves in that industry, and it's an honor to be a part of that thing.
Now, what do you do there?
I'm the director of sales and marketing, so I handle the sales team, distributors, and then I also lead our marketing team in promoting our stuff in our company. Yeah.
So if someone were interested in your product, how do they get in contact with you?
You can find us on the web at artemisshielding.com, and there's a contact page there. rham@artemisshielding.com is my email address, or you can call us at 256-979-1136. So we'd love to hear from you if you have radiation shielding needs.
There you go. There you go. So most importantly, though, you are a pastor of a church.
Yes.
That's very important.
Yes. You know that.
I was proud to hear that.
You know, me too. Yes, I'm the pastor now at Sand Rock Methodist Church in Sand Rock, Alabama, and it's just been such a thrill, Donna. The last I began there in November, and just the last few months has just been thrilling to see what God is doing in that little small church that is not such a small church anymore. It's been growing and growing steadily, and we have some of the most committed and loyal people to the church and to the Lord that I've ever been around. And they're also very committed and dedicated to passing that down to their children. So we've got a house full of children and young people and young families.
Oh, that means that's a good growing church.
It is. And I don't know if you saw on my on either our church or my personal Facebook page, the last 2 weeks I have shared pictures of littles, 4 and 5 year olds, collecting the tithes and offerings when it came time for that in the service.
That's a good way to get the money out of you, hungry. When you got those cute faces walking up to you, you'll put a little more in there.
Well, and they're learning how to serve. They're learning how to serve and to be a part of worship and to be a part of the church.
That's a great idea.
And it excites them. They love doing it, and so we've got parents who are really interested in getting their children involved in the life of the church, and it's thrilling.
In whatever way possible.
Yes. We actually have a teenager, a high schooler, who leads our children's moment every Sunday.
Wow.
Who shares a short lesson, and so young people are just all through our church. Now, don't get me wrong, us older folks are very active, and we're kind of leading the way, but they are following well. And so it's just an exciting place to be.
It's just a great cycle to have that variety of folks in your church. Because, Randall, a lot of churches are hurting for young people.
They are, and that's just been such a blessing. We've got, I think our oldest member is in her 90s, if I'm not mistaken, and our youngest is maybe 2 months old, 3 months old. So we've got the whole span covered and everything in between. So it has just been a blessing, and I would extend an open invitation to anyone in the area to come and visit with us on Sunday mornings. We have Sunday school at 10 and worship at 11, and we just have a great time as a family.
What are you seeing in churches now? I know times have changed as far as politics and as far as the way the world is run. Are you seeing the church has changed?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, Donna, we're battling through a time when the world has made its way into the church more than Jesus has made its way into the church, and so many people are falling into the pit of allowing the teachings of the world and what society and culture says is okay to be their doctrine and to be what they believe, and it's really disheartening to see people falling into that trap, because that's exactly what it is. It's a trap that the enemy has put before them, and people are falling in because it's comfortable. It's easy to go along with culture and with society around you, and to not swim upstream, if that makes sense. And as faithful Christ followers, we should be standing on the Word of God, and if that means swimming upstream, then we're just going to swim upstream against the current, because that's what we're called to do. We're called to be countercultural. We're called to be an odd and peculiar people, and to not look like the world around us. But we are seeing more of the world in the church. Now, that being said, in this new denomination of Methodism that we're a part of, the Global Methodist Church, we're standing on God's Word, and we're standing on His teachings, and we're standing on marriages between one man and one woman, and we're standing on those kind of principles, the teachings of Jesus. And we are seeing a growth in the church. We are seeing people come seeking the truth rather than what the world might be trying to tell them.
Matters.
And
Randall,
it
just does.
It does. And the church has been in decline year after year after year after year. But we're starting, I don't know about other denominations, but I know in our denomination, we're beginning to see that trend reverse. And we're starting to see growth and people coming to the church because they want to hear the truth. They've heard the garbage and the junk for long enough, and they see what that's doing to the world, and they're seeking something different. So,
well, you see enough of that every time you turn the television on, and for the folks who watch the news, why are you doing that? Don't watch the news 24/7. And I'm in the business, and I don't even do that.
No, turn on Andy Griffith.
Yeah. He must have heard me on the last. I can quote. I know I live a very sad life. I quote those shows.
There you go.
My favorite one though is Ernest T, where he goes back to school and he kind of gets a crush on Mrs. Crump, and he's doing his math problems and he's kind of stumping out the answer. That's my favorite one. But anyway, back out of that. But what is wrong with? Because people are just so they're tired of the darkness. And people want to see some light out there.
Well, there has been a lot of fear created in the world. And that fear, a lot of it has been created by the news. It's been created by the media.
Be careful there.
To increase viewership. Because here's what happens. You create that fear. The media creates that fear. And then people they're inclined to tune in the next day to see if they should fear more,
it's
or
almost
see
like
if they
getting
should
hooked on a soap opera,
or dope. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it can be dangerous if you let it be.
Yeah.
Now, do I seek out news? Absolutely. I have some. I have
You gotta know
some.
what's going
I have
on.
some news outlets where I go and I select the news that I
There you
want to
go.
receive. I'm not going to have someone chaotically pouring information into my head
Mhm.
that I don't want.
Mhm.
So, I select that. And, people might think, well, you're sticking your head in the sand. Well, I'm not. There's just some certain things that we can't do anything about but pray.
Mhm.
And so I'll do that. And,
Mhm.
and then I'll seek out the information that I need to make decisions and to live life.
Well, I think that's what helped me. It was your recommendation about that.
Yeah.
Is I can't fix the world, but I can pray for the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I've got to have a family, and I want my family happy. And if I'm an old grouchy Gus because I'm sitting around watching the news all day long, I'm not going to be real easy to live with.
Yeah. I will say this, though. I will say this, and this is something I shared with our church on Sunday morning, and we were talking about how we as people love one another, and how it's really just gotten way off track and out of control. And what I shared with them is every great movement that was ever started was started by one person.
Mhm.
Now, it may have been a group of 50, but one person began that.
Mhm.
And so it doesn't mean that we can't be the one person to begin the change in the world and how we treat each other and how we love each other and how the world operates.
Mhm.
Someone needs to be that merchant of change, that person who gets the ball rolling. So,
Mhm.
I don't want to put the word out there, the message out there that one person can't make a difference, because one person can make a difference.
I mean,
Look what
it
Jesus
starts
did.
with one
Look what
idea
Jesus did.
that
Jesus
maybe
was
you
one
pass
man.
on to somebody else who
Yeah.
can actually get it out there better
That's
than
it.
I can.
That's exactly right. So,
And work as a team as far as that's all concerned as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. So we've always heard about that still small voice.
Mhm.
And sometimes when I'm about to make a mistake, I'm about to do something stupid,
Mhm.
I can get this little gut feeling like, don't do that.
Mhm.
Don't speed, the cop's just right over there. That's usually mine.
Yeah.
But anyway, and I've been really good at that here lately because I've been listening to the little still small voice,
Mhm.
But not only about being caught, and getting a ticket, but you might hurt somebody out on the road as well. But what is it about people who ignore that little? It's like God's telling you, don't go down that road, Donna. I mean, it's like he almost has to hit you on top of the head sometimes to get it to see it. But when I've listened, I've not made quite as many mistakes.
Well, as humans and as people who live in a body of flesh, we often tend to think that our plan for our lives or our idea of what's the right thing or the wrong thing to do is a better idea than what God has for us. And if we tune ourselves to that small voice, that voice of the Holy Spirit that lives in us, if we are in Christ, we'll hear it. One problem is, and this kind of goes back to the media and the world is loud. Go in a crowded restaurant. Go in a crowded restaurant sometime, packed on a Sunday, when all those wonderful church people being so kind to the servers are in there.
I was going to say, they could be the rudest people sometimes, the servers. I've sat there like, stop it.
Go into that crowded restaurant, and you're sitting at a table with Phil, and just whisper something to him. He won't hear you. And that's what happens to us sometimes. The world around us is so loud that if we get just a little out of tune with that spirit in us, we don't hear that still small voice. And if we don't, you know what that leads us to? It leads us to rely on our own thoughts and our own ideas.
And that's a mistake on my strategy in my life. I can't do that.
Yeah. So, yeah. But that hearing that still small voice of God is so important in really everything we do.
It is. I was talking with a potential client a few weeks ago. And so I like to go inside their business just to see how it operates, and that way I can know how to promote them. So I walked in, their employees were not friendly. They didn't even acknowledge I walked in. I mean, I'm not queen or anything, but when someone walks into your business, you need to acknowledge them.
You're not?
Am I? I didn't know it. Yeah. No, I missed that one.
I digress.
Yeah. I'm not a queen. You can tell that. But there's something about making a person feel important that if you're a customer, you're walking into somebody's business and they care that you walked in there, because the person could go anywhere else, but they actually went to your business. So I told the guy, I said, I don't think it's wise for us to do business right now. You need to teach customer service to your employees. Well, it shocked him. And he said, well, I'm ready to buy an ad. And I said, you're not ready yet. I said, I can send you 1 million customers, but if your employees are not going to take care of those customers sent in there, you're going to think I'm the fault.
There you go.
And it won't be me. Now, as I walked out the door, I was like, you dummy, you just lost $500, a month. But it wouldn't be worth it. He would be constantly chasing me down. He'd be yelling at me, your advertising is just not working.
Yeah. You need to do something different with your ads.
No,
you need to promote your different. That's exactly. But again, this goes back to the culture, Donna, and you see that in so many businesses these days. Rather than the person who is working at that business having the understanding that that person that just walked in the door is the one who really signs their paycheck.
Absolutely.
Rather than, you interrupted my time here scrolling on my phone. That's kind of the way things have gone, and that is a culture thing that has just come about over the last several years. But good for you for doing that.
No, I don't waste my time and his time.
And his money. That's exactly right, because he would have most likely thrown that $500 away. But if he'll fix his problem, he can probably fix it for less than $500.
He'll be calling me back, I'm pretty sure. But see, he's going to appreciate that I was honest. And he didn't. He said, well, what happened? And I said, nothing happened. I said, it's as if I was thin air walking through. Like that. And I said, I don't mean to be tattling. And I could have been talking about some of his kids working there. I don't know, but I felt like he needed to know that. And I said, I'm not going to take your money. Because again, I would have been working more with him and spending no other time with any of my other sponsors. It wouldn't have been worth it. Then they would have been like, well, Donna, this is too busy somewhere else, So
that was a great call.
I think it was. But it was I just think I think it was. And I used to think when I worked at GTE, this was back when nobody had cell phones. Okay, no one. I mean, it was like we had the most terrible service. GTE was horrible during that time, and AT&T they smoked us. They had the much better. So I would find out where somebody lived and where their business was and that kind of thing. Well, if I knew exactly every square foot where we had service and where we didn't have it, I would send Jan, who worked at the AT&T customers. So my boss heard me. He overheard me. I was talking with the customer, and it would have been a nice commission. It was like 30-something lines he wanted to get. He lived in Piedmont. We had nothing there.
Yeah, right.
You might as well use 2 rocks. It'd be better than the phone was at that time. So the boss hears me. Well, the customer leaves, and he says, "Are you sure, little lady?" And I said, "Yes, sir. Believe me, I make commission. I would love to sell you phones, but you're going to be mad at me if I sell you all these phones. They're not going to work." And then I gave him Jan's card. I even had her cards. and Ed saw. And Ed goes, "If you weren't selling so many phones, I'd fire you for that." And I said, the reason I'm selling so many phones is because I'm telling them the truth.
That's right.
And so that's where your church is coming in. You're telling them the truth. That's why people are coming to church nowadays, I think. If they go and they hear the same old, just garbage, they're not going to come back.
Yeah.
The churches that are growing are the ones who are telling the truth, and they're not afraid to, and you're doing that. That's
exactly right. That's exactly right. And because it's incumbent upon us as pastors and as ministers, and we're all ministers, Donna.
Yeah,
we're all ministers
because everybody has their influence.
Everybody has
circle of influence.
That's right, and everybody has their gifts. But it is.
I'm trying to figure out what mine is right now. But anyway, I know I've got one.
It's important. It's important. It's a matter of life and death.
It's that
literally a matter of life and death. It's. I can't stress that hard enough. How important it is that even if it hurts their feelings.
Oh boy, we got into that culture. Don't hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah. Well,
I would rather, and you hurt my feelings one time. you know I'm going to say.
I know.
It was about, I was being kind of snooty because he's working with Kairos prison ministry, and he said, "I'm going to come on the show." I'm thinking you're going to talk about city council or something, but he's no, we're going to talk about Kairos prison ministry, and you're like, oh boy, get this one over with. And I don't know if you saw it. God said, "Hey, straighten her out. She's a moron about this," or what happened. But what ticked with me, and you said it. You said any of us could be where they're at right now.
Yep.
Could have zigged when you should have zagged.
It's true. And it's true.
Thank you for that. I didn't like it at that.
Thank you for receiving that.
But it's the truth.
It is the truth. It is the truth. And as me and others take every opportunity that we're given to talk to people about what really is going on in the jails and the prisons, people's eyes are being opened. Mm-hmm. They think of prison as this end of the road. And it's not
You're
necessarily.
Stick a fork in them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a period, it's a comma.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pause most times. And fortunately, many men and women who are incarcerated are taking that pause and they're doing something with it. And they're becoming kingdom warriors. I mean, they are bringing the gospel of Jesus Christ inside the walls of the prison. Into the darkest places there are, and isn't that what we should be hoping for? Mm-hmm. Not condemnation for them, but restoration for them, correction for them. Mm-hmm. A new life, not more of the same. So, as more of us go out and share stories, firsthand accounts mm-hmm. of what we see, not what I heard about, from guy mm-hmm. I talked to on the prison phone. I'm talking about going inside the prison and see with my own two eyes. And hearing with my own two ears, as we go and share those stories, people are just amazed of it. Mm-hmm. And honestly, sometimes I'm amazed because, you just don't.
It's always a surprise.
It is. I look at what goes on at the Church of the Chosen at St. Clair or what goes on in the pods at the DeKalb County Jail. And sometimes I think, I can remember a church or two that I've been to preach in years past that should come in here and hear what's going on. They need to hear these words.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know, but we need to pray for our churches, Donna. We really do, because this is a very, very critical time in our country and in our history, and the answer lies in God's word.
I think we worry about the wrong things. I know I have in the past. I've worried about things I have no control over.
Yeah.
And you mentioned like backbiting. A lot of that happens in churches and where you work and all that kind of stuff. And all that stuff is so unnecessary.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting you would say that the first sermon that I shared when I became the pastor of Sandrock Church, and I didn't know at that time that I was preaching to the choir. Oh. I shared the story of the day of Pentecost when they were all together in one place in one accord. And I think God gave me that because that's what He wanted the church to hear, because He wanted us to be of one accord. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize they were already on that path and that they were headed in that direction. But God has just taken that and His Spirit has moved in that church, and we are even more of one accord than we have ever been. Mm-hmm. We don't, as far as I know, and in a small church, everybody just loves one another. Mm-hmm. And if there's an issue, we just work it out. We just talk it out, and there's great communication. So,
do you feel it's better just if something arises, and it could be the color of carpet, it can be anything silliness. So,
many times it's the color of the carpet.
I have refused. We were going to a church one time, and they said, "Well, you haven't told us what color you want." I said, "I don't care. If you choose pink, purple, polka dot, I could care less. I don't care what the color of the carpet is. You choose the color." And I just know I never wanted to be put in that situation to choose a color of carpet because I've seen so many things happen. But how can you get so tight? Who cares?
Here's the way I answer those kind of questions. Do you realize that somewhere there's a group of faithful Christians gathered together around a single 25-watt light bulb?
Mm-hmm. Go to Africa.
Yeah. They don't have carpet. They don't even have walls. Mm-hmm. But they're faithful. So, I don't care if we have carpet. I don't care. I don't care if we're on the dirt. God is the same God regardless of what your surroundings are.
We
So,
went on missionary. I love missionary trips. That's our idea of a vacation.
yeah.
I can't relax anyway, so I love going on these trips. So we went to South Uganda, Africa.
Oh, wow.
Just like you said, it was. I mean, it was 2x4s, but it didn't even have walls there.
Mhm.
That was the happiest congregation
Mhm.
I have ever seen. They spoke English and Swahili, so we could understand what they said.
Yep.
And their dialect of English is just beautiful.
Mhm.
It was just gorgeous. And then, but the songs they sang, the way they sang "Amazing Grace" was different than I've ever heard ever. But they were happy to have a roof. All they had was a roof. They didn't have walls.
Yep. I've got a dear friend, brother in Christ in Uganda, and we communicate almost daily, and try to support his ministry and what he's doing there to make sure people have food and education and all those things. But they are a faithful people, and you're right. You walk in one of these giant churches around here, and you look around, and you're like, and then you see what's going on there, and you see the power of their worship, the intensity and the passion in their worship compared to pew potatoes. I'm just going to say it.
Mm-hmm.
People who come to the church.
It's a social club.
In so many cases, gosh, that breaks my heart, Donna. It just pains me to even think that. But when you see that comparison, and when you see that in comparison to what goes on in the prison, and just the free and passionate love of
They're
God
not
and
worried about
worship,
a social
they don't
status
care
at
what
all.
people think. They don't care who's looking
You
at
know,
them.
being happier
Yeah.
can actually
Yeah.
not care
Yeah.
about what people think.
So, yeah, you got that right. Woo-wee.
That's a liberator.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
quit thinking, quit caring about what people think of maybe a lie that's been told or something like that, I don't care about that anymore because God handles that and the truth comes out.
Yeah, I heard it said one time, the things that people say about you are none of your business.
I love that one. I love that one. Okay, so my son is a minister.
Uh-huh.
And so he sends me these videos all the time. So he sends me one of a minister who's coming. I forgot the name of the minister. He's coming in. He's the new pastor, but he disguises himself as a person,
Homeless person. Mm-hmm.
Nobody's paying him attention. Nobody's welcoming him, as to the church or any of that stuff. Then they ask for the new pastor to come up.
Yeah.
Here comes this guy.
Yeah.
That'll get you to think. There he goes, some homeless guy walking up there.
Oh, yeah. You hear the entire congregation gasp at one time. I know. They're like,
oh my goodness,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have been.
What did I
I
do?
hope he doesn't remember I was the
That's
one that
right,
was rude
that's
to
right,
him.
Yeah. No, Pastor, I wasn't there last week.
That wasn't me. It was him.
Oh my
But
goodness.
man, that spoke volumes.
Absolutely.
That would let you know the kind of church you're walking. I can't
Yeah.
believe you didn't
Yeah.
do something like
Yeah.
that first time you went to
Yeah.
the church.
Yeah, no, I'm not that smart.
They already knew you.
I'm not that smart.
But that is because church is supposed to be open for everybody.
Mhm.
I was at a church one time, and so they asked me what I would do if someone gay or if a lesbian come to the church.
Mhm.
And I said, nothing. And they said, nothing. And I said, no, they're like me. They sin, they need to be there. And as far as partaking in it, I don't think you should
Exactly.
till you get that stuff out.
Exactly.
Then I wouldn't say a word. I'd welcome them there. Glad you're here.
Yeah, it all goes back, and again, this is something I shared with my church at San Roque this past Sunday. Was the word from John 3:16, whosoever,
Mm-hmm.
whosoever should believe.
Mm-hmm.
That means the pastor. That means the prostitute.
Mm-hmm.
That means the drug addict. That means the judge.
Means everybody.
That means the guy laying on the sidewalk with a needle hanging out of his arm.
Mm-hmm.
He is a whosoever.
Mm-hmm.
And Christ died for them exactly the same as he died for the pastor or the pope or whoever.
Mm-hmm. It's that simple. I mean, you can't make it say anything else. I mean, it doesn't mean anything else.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, I mean, the issue of human sexuality has been such a big thing, and especially in the United Methodist Church, which we left a year or so ago. And one of the things they were saying about our new denomination of Methodism was, well, they hate homosexuals. They hate people.
I'm so tired of that.
I know.
That's a lie. People say you hate people.
Yeah. And that's just not the case. But we're going to stand on Scripture. And Scripture plainly states that those things are wrong. And it plainly states that that a marriage is between one man and one woman, not one man and an animal of his choosing, or a tree. The world today will tell you can marry that tree if you want to. You can marry that tree.
Who has fallen in love with her elm tree.
There you go. There you go. So
she said she gets a spiritual vibe from this. She needs to be committed. She needs help.
Well, that's a spirit. She needs to be prayed over, because that is a spirit. Oh, here we go, Donna, because there may be some people, if we start talking about spiritual warfare and spiritual battles, there may be some people turn their TVs off. And if that's so, then I'm not the one with my head stuck in the sand. It is a real thing. It is a real thing.
I truly believe we're in a battle, good and evil.
We are, and so many of those things, so many of the things like depression, so many of those things like what are they? The dual personality thing. Those things are spirits. They're spiritual conditions that can be cast out. And oh boy, now he's really crazy.
I truly believe this.
It's true.
Have you noticed you can be
bipolar? That's what I was
town.
trying to think of. Yeah.
Bipolar. You can be in town. Sometimes we're just driving down the road and someone will just look at you and it's like they don't have a soul. That scares me.
Yeah. But here's the deal. God has a solution for all of that. He has an answer for all of that, and He's it. He's it. So I don't know. It's a crazy and mixed up world.
But people are looking for the light.
They are. They just have to look in the right place, Donna.
And that's what happens with a lot of our media. I mean, it really does. They're sending the wrong message. Oh, your cure for it is here. Or your cure for it is there. Vote for this person instead of that other person. But I'll just have to tell you, I'm not really for either party.
Yeah, no, I'm for America.
Me too.
Yeah.
I am too.
But here's a quick exercise. I think we may be going to the break or something.
We're about to.
Here's a quick exercise. When next time you sit down in front of the TV to watch TV, take a pad and a pencil. You make a little tick mark every time there is a commercial for a prescription medication for something.
And called something weird you can't even pronounce.
All 3 syllables, yes, always 3 syllables. But look at what they are trying to do.
They're trying to get you all hooked up on drugs. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah. There's,
and it's not just
treatment, there's treatment, and then there's cure.
And it's not just for the person who's out on the street, like you said, with the needle stuck. It's the elite are involved in this as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to drag us all down, and I'm not going to do it. And another thing I'm not going to do is argue with anybody about politics. I'm just not going to argue because someone has their beliefs, I've got my beliefs. And I'm sorry. I got friends who are liberals too.
I do too.
And I am not going to not like you no more. I'm still going to love you.
That's it.
Even if you put something nasty on Facebook. And as a matter of fact, some of my friends have done that. They'll say, I can't believe you believe that way. You're blah, 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 blah. And why didn't you know how I respond? I love you.
That's it.
I do it every time. And you know who you are. Some of y'all do this. And they're trying to get me to not be a Christian about it. They're trying to get me to yell and scream, cuss, carry on, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm
then
not
they're going to go,
see, I knew you were that way. I'm not going to do it. I love you too much.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to do it. Let's go into a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Queen City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Good afternoon, we're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. Central. As Randall and I get to ride on with you in the afternoons, it's always a lot of fun. You can send emails if you would like for me to do a little research. I'll be glad to do that. It's a topic you would like for me to cover. It's been a lot about gardening here lately. Folks want me to have some gardening shows, and we're going to do that.
It's a great time of the year to do that.
Absolutely. So you've been watching me plant these little tiny seeds, and they're coming up.
You can teach them all about lavender.
I am, because you know something will propagate it, and you guys, you're going to see this, okay? It's coming up in just about another week. Phil's working on it right now. So I propagated 120 lavender plants off of what I had that I bought from the lady at Lookout Lavender, and she's up above Mentone, out that way. And beautiful place. You got to go check it out. It is gorgeous and smells good too. So I thought 10 of them, 5, 10 going to come up. All 120. So Phil looked in, he came into the greenhouse. He said, sure smells like lavender in here. And I said, look, all 120 of those plants came up. And he said, well, I guess you're going to get your little lavender farm that you've been wanting. So it started with that. So there you go. But you know, you can plant your own seeds, and you can do that. Plant seeds of happiness to people, because people, I'm telling you right now,
I like that.
People are looking. I don't care how dark they see things. I don't care how they think they want life to be a particular way. Mm-hmm. They're not happy. They're the most unhappy people you'll ever see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and honestly, it's easy to be unhappy in today's world.
I don't like it kind of life, because I used to do that. I used to follow those trends. When I was in the corporate world, I had the most miserable life when I was in the corporate world. Mm-hmm. And it's just nice to be free. There's something about being free from all of that.
Yeah. Well, but and I think we've talked about this before. Are we seeking happiness, or are we seeking joy?
Joy.
You see, happiness is dependent on the conditions around you.
And they're not always going to be perfect.
Happiness is dependent on the people around you. and all the things that are going on. And so it is like riding a roller coaster all the time between happiness and unhappiness. But joy depends on only one thing, and that is your relationship with the Lord. And that when you receive that joy, it's not a roller coaster. It's like a lazy river. It's just
Brandon,
peaceful.
I think he's coming up with these good
calm,
analogies.
and it's just, you can just rest in it
I'm
instead of a roller coaster.
not near as tired.
Uh-huh.
And I'll be 65 on my birthday, and I feel more vibrant now than I did back then when I was with the corporate world. But I was constantly being driven to classes about diversity and all this stuff, and I even told my boss, "Oh, look, I love everybody. You don't have to keep sending me to these diversity classes." But they were trying to indoctrinate me, and it just didn't work. So I got a mind of my own, which is bad.
How dare you? How dare you have your own thoughts and
Have
ideas?
your own. You'll be happier, I promise you, even if you don't agree with me.
But
It did look funny. I bet Lisa looks at you that way a lot. I bet Lisa goes,
not as much as she used to.
true.
Not as much as she used
I
to.
regret.
She's gotten to know me better, and sometimes the things that used to be unexpected are not quite as unexpected.
But you know what? I got to say this. Lisa's the best thing that ever happened to you.
Oh,
Besides God,
apart from my salvation, she is the most important thing.
She
that
led
ever
you
happened.
without you even know you were being led.
She did.
You didn't know it, did you?
Had no idea. I didn't know what her plan
And
was.
she had a Christian way.
It's interesting that I say I had no idea what her plan was. Because when we got married, and she gave me this ring, I don't think you can see it anymore. Yeah, you can kind of. Engraved in here, it says the plan, and it has our wedding date.
Oh.
So she had a plan all along, and I don't know that it strictly necessarily involved her eventually becoming a pastor's wife, but she had a plan, and good for her.
She's going to ring you in.
Her plan helped to change the direction of the trajectory of my life.
He's happy. I mean, he is happy.
Yeah. She's awesome. I talk about her all the time. And, we talked about having her on down here one time, and I mentioned it to her, and I think she said, yeah, I might do that. I can't remember now.
Yeah, but what year?
Yeah, I don't know.
Lisa.
But she is just precious and just a heart of gold. Just a heart of gold for
Well, see, this is how you guys are leading other people, because there are so many people who are in the ministry who don't have happy lives. My dad was a minister.
Yeah.
Wound up with a divorce,
Yeah.
And so people signal that. They know when people live another life at home than when they're at church. But you guys radiate this, and without even saying a word.
It's because it is deeper than what's on the surface. And I have shared this so many times, and this is so cliche, but God is truly the center of our marriage, and He is truly the bond that holds us together. And we've been through stuff over the years, raising 3 boys and all the challenges that go with that, and then them getting married, and the challenges that go with that, and our work, and the challenges that go with that. There are constantly things that are pulling at your marriage, but God has bonded us in a way that the world and our jobs and everything else can pull as hard as it wants to pull, but it will not be weakened because of the glue that God is in our marriage. And I know that people say that all the time, but if you want to see what the true result is, look. Because it is. It's obvious, and we don't have to put on airs. We don't have to put on a show. What you see is what you get. And so
again, it's truth. It's not fake stuff.
It is genuine, and it's real, and it's true, and it just brings great joy to my heart.
And you can see a confidence that she has in your marriage too. And other people are coming after that. They want to see what you're doing.
They do.
I think that's why you're getting a crowd.
They do. I want to share this too real quick. And this, when we start talking about marriage, when we got married, before we got married, actually, our pastor at the time, Mark Lacey, the pastor who married us, he said to us, when you get to a point in your marriage when you begin to pray together, it will take your marriage to another level. And I've always shared that with folks, and I've always shared that with men about their marriage and with women, or at least with women. I was listening to a show on the radio the other day, and they were talking about marriage, and they were talking about divorce rates. And of course, you know, the divorce
It's even higher now.
it's way over 50%. The divorce rate in our country is way over 50%. And so this man was talking. He said, you know, so then the study came out that divorce rates in the church are about 27.3%. So it decreases
When you start.
When you start. He said the divorce rate for couples who pray together is 1 in 1,125.
Wow.
And I don't
That's a huge
know
difference
exactly.
there.
I don't know exactly. Let's see. It'd be 1125. I don't know how you do that. I don't even know how you come up with that percentage. Anyhow, it's
Common Core math.
extremely low. Yeah, A plus B equals 6, right? But that was the newest statistic out, is that couples who pray together in their marriage, the divorce rate is nearly non-existent.
You know, my
That should tell us
grandparents had
something.
been married 67 years. My granddad passed away.
Yeah.
So, but what I noticed about them, they had conversations, okay? So they communicated with each other. If my grandmother didn't like something, my granddad didn't like something, they didn't get mad and hold grudges and like not go to bed and not speak and all this kind of stuff. Although my granddad kind of joked around and said, one time we were up 4 days without sleep.
Whatever it takes.
It was a joke. It was a joke. But there was this general respect for each other. And my granddad, you know, a lot of people get us wrong in the South. They think the man wants the woman to stay home pregnant and cooking and all that kind of stuff. I actually like cooking. And I like doors being open for me. And I like all those things. So I'm not a woman's liver or anything like that. But it's this equal thing between Phil and me. And one time I got mad at him and I said, you know what, that's enough, I'm leaving. And he said, well, you know what I said when we first came into this marriage together? And I said, what? I said, if you ever pack your bags, I'm packing mine. I'm
There
going
you go.
with you.
Lisa and I have that same arrangement.
I said, so I can't get rid of you no matter what? He said, nope, I'm in for the long haul. But he kind of talks to me, it kind of makes me think, so my grandparents were great examples.
Yeah.
You know, and then my other grandparents were the same way. But it's like they take stuff serious, but not so serious to be mad at each other. And my granddad always said, to have a successful marriage, don't hold grudges with each other.
It's like poison.
So that's my grandmother said, do you ever get mad at him? She said, yeah, just not in front of you.
Yeah.
And it's just so, though they communicated, okay, with each other. But there was none of this holding grudges with each other.
Yeah.
You know, and if they had misunderstandings, they got it out in the open.
You know, that's one of the things that and I can't believe I'm saying this, but that's one of the things that Lisa and I do really well. And that came from her, not from me. I was terrible at it when we first got married. My
Does it sound like, okay, Phil and Lisa are alike, and then you and I are the other two.
my deal was, if there was a disagreement, I was shutting down.
Yeah, I'm done. That's what I would do. I would think, well, I don't want to yell, I don't want to scream, so I just won't say anything.
I just shut down and that's it.
And
And,
that's
I would
wrong,
just sit
too.
there. I would just sit there and I would be thinking all these thoughts. Sometimes I was even thinking of things that say that might help. But I was shut down, so they never came out of my mouth. But she honestly taught me how to communicate in a relationship.
Oh, it's got to be.
She did. She taught me how to do that, and that is something that I give so much credit to in our marriage. Is if there's something, if I hurt her feelings, she's going to tell me, and I'm glad that she's going to tell me because. You know, I'm a man, and sometimes I'm a dummy, and I don't know that I said something.
And y'all
that
don't
was
speak
hurtful.
womanese is what
We
Phil says.
don't. We don't. And you know,
Womanese. I've heard that so many
praise God
times.
for that. You know, we're supposed to be different.
He says that's a good thing.
It is. It is. So you know, but I give her all the credit in our relationship for the communication and how that has come to be over the last 22 years, and that also trickled down to our family, to our children, so that there was always open communication between us and our children. Now, sometimes we had to kind of peck at them a little to get them to open up, because sometimes there were things they didn't want to tell us or things they didn't want to ask us. And but it got to the point where they weren't anymore. We would just talk about anything that needed to be discussed, and so it's been beneficial for them too.
To see that, like it was for us to see my grandparents. I got to see another side besides a broken marriage.
So, yeah, the communication is, that's big. That's big, and that's sometimes it's something that has to be taught.
Usually I'm the one that has to be taught something, but
Me too.
and I'm okay with that. I receive it because I want to grow in the marriage. I don't want to be the reason it would fail or anything like that.
I'm just so thankful that Lisa was wise in that area. I mean, she's wise in so many areas, but I'm thankful that she was, I guess, gifted in that way of communication is probably the better word. Because it absolutely had a tremendous impact on
Well, and too, as women, we got to be really careful because sometimes we get all frustrated and just go crazy and everything. But the way we say it is like we're putting you down, and we don't even mean it to sound that way. So sometimes Phil has had to say, "Hey, come down off your high horse. Look, you're putting me down here." I mean, so he's the communicator, and so I'll say, "Was that rude?" And he'll go, "Yeah, you were rude." So I go, "Okay, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude."
Yeah.
Because sometimes some of us are passionate about what we say and about what we do, and we don't watch how it comes out. I'm the one here.
Oh my goodness, that is such an excellent point. And Lisa and I've had that conversation before when I have hurt her feelings, and I tell her I'm just so passionate about this subject, or I'm passionate about making sure that I'm the best husband that I can be for you, and sometimes it just comes out like, yeah,
because I just don't want to fail.
I know.
I don't want to fail in the marriage and be the reason.
So, but we always talk it out. We always work it out, and then we chalk one up to the conversation,
I learned something.
to the Holy Spirit working in our life, and then we go. Yeah.
And then other people see us. It's like I asked my grandmother. I said, "Do you ever get mad at Papa? Do you ever? Because I've never seen you." And she'll go, "Oh, yeah, I do." But they just don't. They didn't dwell on it. They just took care of it, communicated, and got it done and over with.
Yep. That's how it works. That's supposed to work anyway.
It is, but it's also the way. And Granddad used to mention this a lot. He would say, "Well, we're Christ's bride, and we're the man. We got to take care of the bride."
That's right. Yeah. Scripture tells us as husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her.
The bride needs to feel that if somebody comes into your house, that you would take the bullet for them. Although I'd probably be the one running out, but both of us would be fighting for the bullet.
Yeah.
The thief would go, "Forget you two, you're nuts."
I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. So let's talk a little bit about mother-in-laws, okay? Because I've been hearing a lot about mother-in-laws that are not good to the daughter-in-laws. So let me tell you, this is my rule of thumb. I love my daughter-in-law. She's like my daughter. As a matter of fact, if they ever split up, she'd probably come live with us. So, I mean, I love this girl, but now I set the precedent for that. So before Brad and Larissa got married, the pastor of the church we're going wanted to meet with them, and he invited me. And I knew where he was coming from because a lot of mother-in-laws now can mess up the marriage. And
I would get their fingers in there.
I would not want that on my hands. I just would not want that on my hands. So anyway, I came. I knew what he was doing. And because Brad and I have always been really close.
Right.
So I was divorced for a really long time. It was just Brad and me. And we were just buddies, And I think the pastor saw that, and he just wanted to make sure that I wouldn't put something in the middle of it.
Somebody got to say it.
And then I appreciated him doing that too.
Sure.
I said, absolutely. So this is what happened. So Reese and I are really close. But before they got married, we had the bridal shower. Well, this is the first time I met her side of the family. And they didn't know what I was like. So here I come waltzing in. Larissa and I are hugging each other outside. Well, that was a good thing. I thought, okay, all right, cool. By the way, Larissa just watched the movie Monster-in-Law. And I said, "You watched Monster-in-Law with Jane Fonda?"
Yeah.
I'm not Jane Fonda. But anyway, so they go around the room. Everybody's giving advice. And to Larissa, And there's a lot of really good stuff there. She had a great family. So they let Larissa's mom and me go last. So they had me, and I'm like, I'm not going to be bossy because I'm still learning myself. So how can I teach you anything? I said, the only thing I'm going to say to you, this is going to be it. Brad has the most beautiful blue eyes I have ever seen in my life. He is gorgeous blue eyes. He's in the ministry. There's going to be a desperate housewife in the church. I know because we lived through that with my dad. So he's going to be pretty and cute up there, you know. And so she's going to want to talk with him. And I said, the only thing I'm going to say to you, you need to go. And if you can't go, call me. I'll go meet with the desperate housewife, and I'll be glad to set her straight.
There you go.
And so that was and then Larissa's mother said, everybody started laughing when I said that. And I said, no, I'm not going to boss you around. I don't have time. I'm running a business. I said, but that's the only thing we'll say.
Yeah.
And then she gave some good advice. The mom gave some good
Very
advice
good.
too. So anyway,
Very
I don't boss them. I don't tell them what to do. They're going to make mistakes. And, you know, the mistakes I've made have been stupid, but I've learned from them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You couldn't have told me, don't do this, Donna. Donna, don't go jump off the cliff. I would have done it anyway.
Yeah. And you know, and that is Lisa's approach as a mother-in-law to the wives of our sons.
Mm-hmm.
Her only intent is for them to have a better life.
Mm-hmm.
And if she can share some wisdom with them, not in a forceful way, but just share maybe an experience with them, you know.
And that goes further than you bossing them.
Absolutely. It does. So she's just the bomb, no matter what she's doing, whether she's a wife or a mother-in-law or a Mima or a sister or a friend or whatever it is. She's just the best.
She is. I mean, she's just a wonderful lady. But you know something that ties all this in together is, and I've always thought about this. Okay, I'm probably not going to Larissa's probably not going to outlive me. I'll probably pass before she does. I would rather see them have a good, strong marriage and carry on, triumph through the whole thing, because I'm not going to be around forever is the way I'm looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
And if Brad had to make a decision between me and Larissa, he would be a complete fool to choose me over his wife.
Mm-hmm.
That would be stupid. So I mean, that's just the way we look at things.
A man
I
should
love my
leave
son.
his father and mother
You must
and be
leave.
joined to his wife.
Mm-hmm. And we got that going on now. I'm gonna tell you what. I've made a lot of mistakes in life. But this is one thing I feel like I've done right.
And you know, there's a big difference in sharing wisdom with your children and their families and telling them what to do.
Yeah, and making a belittling them.
Exactly.
I never wanted Larissa to feel, or Brad to
Yeah.
feel like that I was
Right.
belittling them,
Right.
like they didn't have enough brains to figure out anything.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, they're smarter than I am. I've got a smart daughter-in-law. As a matter of fact, Brad said he wanted to give her the ring, and he said, I don't know if she's even going to say yes. I said, good girl. I think I'm going to like her. He said, she's making me worry. And I said, good. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay, a little bit over a minute left. What would you like to tell the folks before we go? Great
Wow.
show, by the way.
Thanks. This has been a lot of fun this time. It really has. Just kind of going from topic to topic. I've really enjoyed this a lot. I want to extend another invite to join us at Sand Rock Methodist Church. Sunday school at 10, worship at 11. We live stream our services on Facebook Live on our
I
page.
haven't got it. I'm going to have to like the page.
I will invite
Okay,
you to the
I'm
page
gonna
if I
do it.
haven't already. Sand Rock Methodist Church on Facebook. We live stream our services, and we'd love to have you join us and hear the Word of God. Hear the truth,
The truth
because
matters.
the truth is coming. If you don't believe it, just tune in and find out.
It really does. And you'll have a beautiful drive. It's gorgeous. For you city folks, you're going to
Oh
love
my
it.
goodness, yes. It's out in the country and just the sweetest folks you'll ever find.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Randall, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And tell Lisa I said hello.
I will.
And thank you for watching. See you next time. Take care.